Good morning. I played that song twice before, think, why you did, think Shakespeare. I played it twice before. I might play it again this morning because it's very, very important. I'm a big believer in philosophy and art. Philosophy and art. I could break down a number of films for you. There's a few films now come to mind that have made a big impact on my life. Roman Polanski's Bitter Moon is one of them. That's a very interesting film. It's free on YouTube if anybody wants to go and see it. But it's more or less about a French writer who brings this one. This girl falls in love with a French writer, and they're living in Paris. But it reminds me of the song by who sang that fucking song? We don't need anybody else. But the two of them got into a relationship, and then of course there's such high energy in the relationship because he was a writer, he was creative, and then as the sexual energy started to go out of the relationships, they started playing all sorts of games and all the rest. But then when the whole sexual credit ran out, he started treating her like shit, and he started going out and drinking and coming home late and started treating her like shit. More or less left her cleaning the house, but he reduced her to nothing. It's something like I was sort of saying the other day. But that after the sexual credit ran out, because even though they were addicted to each other, they were afraid to end the relationship because this is why I say love can be an addiction, but this is when it goes toxic. But the whole thing is worth a look. Roman Polanski's Bitter Moon. It's free on YouTube. But the philosophy in it is absolutely marvellous. But I remember thinking about the whole issue of sexual credit in a relationship, and when the sexual credit runs out, because then they start playing all sorts of games and everything else. But then he treated her like shit. But then what happened is, I'll spoil it on you. This is a spoiler. Actually, no, I won't spoil it on you. Have a look at it. Roman Polanski's Bitter Moon. It's free on YouTube. But it's quite good. I was talking about that song, think, why do they teach us Shakespeare? Oh, why do they teach us Shakespeare when we're only 16? And this poses a great hypothetical question. So why do they teach us Shakespeare? They teach us Shakespeare to teach us about love, and this teaches about love, but we learn nothing. We learn nothing, and this is the truth. We learned absolutely fucking nothing because of dogmatic indoctrination that stops the whole interpretation of the philosophy and the profound philosophy that's in Shakespeare, because that's what Shakespeare is. But all to do is to focus on the English, which has no real practical application anymore, because well, we could all do with improving our English. But I do work on improving my English and my use of English, because words are spells. And if you ever look at somebody selling art, the more articulate they are, the better they can sell the art. Because, that's a topic for another day. But basically, words are spells, and the more articulate you are, the better you have a command of English you have, the more you can sell your message. Peterson, for example, has a good command of English. Give him his due. He has a good command of English. What else we going to say? Yeah. So there we're talking about the teaches Shakespeare that teaches about love, but we learn nothing. And then it says kisses from the balcony, all masks and kisses from the balcony. You know what I mean? But it's a fucking tragedy. So basically, all masks and kisses from the balcony. This is what they think love is in Western society at the moment. All masks and kisses from the balcony. And this is what I was sort of saying the other day, about projections and personas. I project onto someone what my ideal woman is. I project it onto them, and then I look for things to support my delusion. Because I'm looking for my ideal, maybe my ma in another woman, and then because this is what my ma actually used to say, if you want to see how a man is going to treat you in 20 years, look at how he treats his mother. But I should probably ring mine more often, to be honest. But we're talking about Yeah, think. Yeah, all masks and kisses from the balcony. This is what they think love is. Masks, personas and projections. All masks, masks. Masks that these people wear because they're afraid to be real, they're afraid to be themselves. Then have these masks and kisses from the balcony then. It's all this fucking fairy tale romance. Isn't that what Lady Gaga wrote about? Fairy tale romance. Or bad romance. But basically, it's about this fairy tale romance. And this is what people try to cultivate then, this fairy tale romance. This fairy tale romance. You lick my arse and I lick yours. But this is not love. And this is what I'm saying. Like, they try to teach us about love. Now, if you know the story of Shakespeare, I could go deeper on this, but I'm not going to do it this morning because I'm always made the point I want to make. But it goes even deeper than this. So if we want to know what love is, if we make a distinction between love and lust, that's the first thing you have to do, is make a distinction between love and lust. And as I said, don't touch me and we'll all be grand. But then you can have love because, right, well, where does it start? It starts first of all with the mind. As I say, this is what I was trying to explain to someone yesterday, but they weren't getting it. But in time we'll get it. It starts with a two-player game. Because if you don't think for yourself, it's a two-player game. Do you understand? It's, I'll make him feel this, you make him feel that, and we'll see who wins, So the mind becomes a perpetual war. What choice will I make? What choice will I make? What choice will I make? And now you're suffering anxiety, and then if you make what you believe to be the wrong choices, then you end up suffering depression. You know what I mean? But this is where your choices impact on your mental health, and then you feel guilt and shame and everything else because of the perceptions of others, because of you're trapped in materialism and security and comfort. And these choices impact on your mental health, but these are choices in a two-player game where you don't think for yourself. Now, if you think for yourself, the first thing you have to do is you have to make it a three-player game. You make it a three-player game. So you say to yourself, you use reason, and you say, well, why would I choose that? Why would I choose that? Is it conducive to the goal? Do you think it's the right thing to do? That's a big one. Do you think it's the right thing to do? Do you think this is the right thing to do? And that's the first question. Because let me tell you, in this game of life, even though it's determined, your choices determine the outcome. It's like playing The Witcher. The Witcher. Your moral choices determine the outcome, and that applies to everybody. Your moral choices, your moral choices, your moral choices. But in saying that, if you're going to play a three-player game, don't let society determine your choices. You have to decide. You have to decide. Otherwise, it's not a three-player game. Do you know what I mean? It's not a three-player game. If you're letting morality, the rules, the fucking rules, you know what I mean? If you realise there are no rules, and then you don't let society make the rules, you make your own rules. Now it's a three-player game, you're thinking for yourself. If you're establishing your own values, now you're thinking for yourself. So the first thing is, you have to open your fucking eyes, establish your values, define your own morality, and now we have a three-player game. And then when you have a three-player game going on, the three-player game becomes a one-player game, because we have three becomes one. We're working in unity, we're striving towards one aim, we're striving towards one game. As one of my favourite things is, you know what I always say? And this is the most important thing to understand when it comes to making choices. When wisdom is being used, there is no conflict between thinking and doing. And that's very important now. That's the take-home message from today. When wisdom is being used, there is no conflict between thinking and doing. And when there's no conflict between thinking and doing, it doesn't matter what anybody else says. As I said to a little one in the hostel there yesterday, make no apologies. This is a jungle, and make no apologies for being a lion. Make no apologies for being a lion in the jungle. And that's very much when you have a one-player game going on, so three players become one player again. So two players become three players, and three players become one player. And now you can extend this out. This is the Fibonacci sequence. So then the three-player game, then you have a one-player game going on. Then you don't make it a two-player game again. Like, don't make it a fucking tragedy. You know what I mean? So basically, like, just say you met someone and you say, oh, I love you and you love me, and then you kill each other for each other. This is Romeo and Juliet again. That's why it's a fucking tragedy. You kill each other for each other. So basically, I'll impose sanctions on you, you impose sanctions on me, I won't do this, you don't do that, and we'll just make our fucking selves miserable. We'll kill ourselves for each other. And meanwhile, this extends out to the Greater War. But when you end this, you kill it. When you stop killing each other for each other, then we can end the bigger war. We can end the bigger feud. But anyway, this is Romeo and Juliet. So this is what happens. That's what makes it a fucking tragedy. So I'm saying don't make it a fucking tragedy, but just leave out the lust and learn how to love. And then you can make this one-player game again. You can then make it a 3-player game again. So you have 3 players. So now you have 3 people who play a 1-player game and it become 1 again. So you now have 3 become 1. So you now have a 3-player game again. And the thing then is to make that a 1-player game again. And then you move out to a 6-player game. Do you understand what I'm saying? It's sort of like interlocking circles, like recurrent patterns in nature. But this is the Fibonacci sequence. This is the golden ratio, 369, 369. And you have to learn how to use this golden ratio, 369, 369. It's like the oils. If you want to buy oil for yourself, buy flaxseed or hemp seed or 369, 369, 369. Great for the brain, 369. And then this is the golden ratio for beauty. This is the golden ratio. This is the golden ratio. 369. And of course, then it continues out exponentially into infinity. But not binary. Not binary. Like everything is binary, but there's a whole range in between. But if you go 369, 369, this is the golden ratio. Come out of duality. Come out of the duality and the dual way of thinking. I was going to talk about scarcity mindset now as well, but it's nearly a bit late for that, so I'll leave that maybe for another morning. No, I'll say a little bit about scarcity mindset. I often see lads blowing on about scarcity mindset, but they get the thought, but they don't process the thought. I don't think they actually understand the thought. I don't think they actually, they get the thought and they just regurgitate the thought. So, for example, if I see Jordan Peterson talk about scarcity mindset, I come on here and start blowing shite to you, regurgitating shite about scarcity mindset when I don't actually understand the concept. But scarcity mindset, for example, like I remember I used to go partying in the well, I still go partying. I was partying last night, but I remember I used to go partying in the 90s, and we used to have big parties when we were all on the love buzz. We were all on the e-tablets, so we were all on the big love buzz, and there was no scarcity mindset. Everybody used to throw out the drugs. Drugs were for sharing, and everybody used to throw out the drugs. There was never any shortage of drugs. We all had drugs. You know what I mean? You never even need drugs. We all had drugs. If we've one person had drugs, we all had drugs. And this was no scarcity mindset. This was all in a big love buzz, throwing out the drugs. Shared drugs are for sharing. But then when the cocaine came in, the cocaine was a little bit expensive, and everybody started sneaking off to the toilets and doing lines. Or people started saying oh, would you like a line? Would you like a line? Because they start doing this thing, would you like a line? And they give you a little matchstick line, and then you feel obliged to reciprocate this, but you throw a big hairy molly of a line. And then when everybody started getting mean with the coke and everybody started sneaking off to the toilets to do their own lines and pretending they had no coke, this was the end of the good times. This was the end of the fucking love buzzes and the partying. This is what ended it, the scarcity mindset. Now, if you apply the same to money and the same to everything else, this scarcity mindset, I'm afraid to be no more, I'm afraid to be no more, I better hold on to this, I better mind this. But for example, I don't have money, but if I get a few pound at all, like a few pound came in last night, the first thing you do is go and you buy dinner and breakfast for everyone. You know what I mean? And then when you have this, because food is the way to they used to say food is the way to a man's stomach. The way to a man's heart is through his stomach. This is not just applied to man. This applies to everybody, because food is in the soul. Cooking is from the soul. If you actually cook from your soul. If you cook from your soul, that's a bit deep. I'll explain it again. But do you understand what I'm saying? This is pure love, cooking for everybody. You just want them to be happy, and then good food brings people together. So forget the scarcity mindset of everybody putting their food in a little bag and putting it up in the thing and saying, oh, did someone take an egg? I want to know who took my egg, you know what I mean? I want to know who took this. No. Well, with a lion like me in the fucking jungle, I'll, as I said to the little one, I make no apologies for being a lion. I eat everybody's food. But at the same time, when I have money, I buy everybody. I'll buy everybody food. And then some crazy shit starts happening, because I'm telling you, we have some buzz going on. I'm going to limit it to 2 or 3 nights per person, because people want to stay, and I don't want any more staying than the 6 we have. I might extend it out to 9 if they're crazy enough. but they have to bring something like, they have to bring something to the table, like maybe bit of music, actually a bit of music. Yeah, so Mike extend it out to 9 if we can have some music, actually. Music maestro. Good morning, see you later, bye.